Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to build your own Jeopardy game using Power BI. Now this can be a pretty fun way to interact with your coworkers, especially if you publish the game to the Power BI server. So let me first demo for you what that's going to look like, and then I'll show you how we're going to build it. Alright, so welcome to Dapper Dash Jeopardy, where today's topic is going to be Disney. So we're going to have the categories of Disney Heroes, Disney Places, and Disney Quotes. So let's start off with places for 200. In High School Musical, where do the Wildcats go for their summer job? And then we would show the answer, Lava Springs, 200. Okay, let's go with heroes for 100. A garbage cleaning robot who falls in love. The answer, of course, is Wall-E. Quotes for 200. Giving up is for rookies. This is said by Phil in the movie Hercules. Let's go with quotes for 300. Then it doesn't really matter which way you go. That is the Cheshire Cat, Alice in Wonderland. Places for 100. Where does Peter Pan live? The answer is Neverland. Let's go heroes for 200. This computer game character wrecks and breaks things while saving things. The answer is Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph. And we have 3 categories left. Let's go with quotes for 100. To infinity and beyond. This is said by the character of Buzz Lightyear. And the last 2 questions we have are 300 points, so heroes for 300. This Sherlock Holmes inspired mouse battles a terrible Professor Ratican. This is Basil of Baker Street in The Great Mouse Detective. And finally, places for 300. The island where Moana lives. This is the island of Motunui. So as soon as we're done with the board game, thanks for playing Jeopardy. I'm going to go ahead and reset it for the next group of people. And we're ready to go again. So that's the Jeopardy board game that I'm going to show you how to build today. If you're finding my channel for the first time, be sure to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content. And without further ado, let's go build the Jeopardy board game. Alright, so here we are in a blank Power BI file. And the first thing that we're going to do when building the Jeopardy board game is we're going to go search for a background wallpaper. So there's nothing too complex. All you're going to do is jump into Google, find a wallpaper that works for you. I've already downloaded one, but I'm just showing you the steps. All I do is I come in here, I find something that works for me, I download it. I have mine downloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and load it into Power BI. So you're going to go over here to the format, your report page, right? We have a blank page, we don't have any data yet. Under wallpaper, you're going to find your image, which mine isn't here. Open it. And I'm going to kind of mess around with the settings. I like the fit. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the fit setting. And there you go. The very first step is getting that background. So let's go on to the next part. After we have our wallpaper, the next thing that you're going to want to do is determine how many categories and how many questions you're going to use. I chose 3 categories and 3 questions each for a total of 9 questions. If you want to do more categories and more questions later, you can do that on your own time. For this example, just do what I'm doing. Select 3 categories that you want to use. Find 3 questions for each category. It's going to create a total of 9 questions and 3 cards for each category. So let me show you what my data looks like. So here's a look at my data. Right? It's really simple. I have a total of 9 questions. I have a question column, a question number column, a question column that contains the questions that I'm going to be using for Jeopardy, an answer column with the answers, a category column. Remember, I went with 3, heroes, places, and quotes, and then a points column to determine how many points each question is worth. I'll give you time to go ahead and set yours up, and then we're going to actually load this into Power BI. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load my data. I'm just going to go ahead and hit import data from Excel. I'm going to get my data set that I showed you, Jeopardy questions. It's going to load the data, make sure I don't really need to make any adjustments, but if you need to do any adjustments on yours, you can go ahead and hit transform data if you need to change anything, but mine is good as is. I'm gonna go ahead and load it, and then you should see it showing up under the field side. And here's my data. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to start to create at least my category cards for the moment. So go ahead and grab a card and bring in the category into the fields. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna filter it based on a question number. And this is gonna be question number 1 for me. Question number 1, which belongs to the category of heroes. A few little things to tidy this up is we're going to remove the labels. So the callout value, the category label we're going to remove. And then we're going to adjust our card color as well. So on the effects, you have a background. I'm going to go ahead and change this, but mine's going to be 3B158 and D. So it's going to be sort of this purple color. And that looks fine. The next thing that I'm going to do is remove any headers. And on the callout value, I'm going to go ahead and change that color to white. And we're going to start to change the dimensions around a little bit. So under the properties, the height I'm going to set to 128. And the width I'm going to set to 260. And it's going to give me this card here. I'm going to also add a white border. You can adjust this however you want. I'm just choosing to do this so that it stands out because the background is a little purple, so I'm going to make the card stand out a little bit with a white border. And then I'm going to go to the selection pane. So up here in view, selection pane, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rename this card Heroes. That way I know that this is my Heroes category. And once this is done, all you have to do now is copy this card 2 more times. We can sort of start to align it wherever you want it to fit. And remember, you got to adjust the filter. This is no longer question 1. Question, is it 2? Let's see. Yep, question 2 is going to be the places category. And then this one, I'm just going to change the filter to 3. And then I get all of my categories here. So heroes, places, and quotes. And then you can start to sort of change the formatting here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line the top, and I'm going to distribute these horizontally so they're perfectly distributed. And that looks good for right now. Okay, once you have the categories added and they're labeled correctly, I group them under this group here called categories just to keep things simple. Now I'm going to go ahead and create my points cards. So go ahead and select one of these cards. You're going to copy and you're going to paste it. And I'm going to line it just wherever I think this might go. And we can start to sort of change this card around. So the first thing is we're going to make sure that this is question 1. There's going to be 9 questions, so we're going to create 9 cards. But this is going to belong to question number 1. So this looks correct here. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and change the background color so that it's a little bit different. Same thing, feel free to use whatever color you want to use. I'm going to use sort of this grayish color here. That looks fine for me. And now I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Align them here. This will be for, points 2. This will be for points 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And very similarly, you can go ahead and select these. You can start to format them, make sure they're aligned correctly. So I'm going to align the left. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go back here to our filters. Make sure that each of the questions are now filtered to the correct question number. So question 2 is going to be this one. If you click on this, it's going to be question 3. Right? If we click here, this is going to be question 4. This one, question 5, and so on. Okay, so now I have all the questions added correctly here. Let's go ahead real quick and name these correctly. So this one here looks to be 0.9. And actually you can use this as a guide to help you. So if I click on this one, I know that that's 8. So P8. And I highly suggest that you name these. The reason why is because, oh, it looks like we left one selected there. So that's got to be 7. And I suggest that you name these because it's going to make keeping track of things later easier. So this is 6. This is 5. 4. 3. 2. And question 1. Perfect. And once these are named, go ahead and click on them and group them. So we have categories and we have points. Now we still don't have the points showing up, and that's fine. That's because we still, since we copied these from our category cards, we still have category. All you got to do now is one by one, start dragging in the points, replace the category, and you'll see that these will start to change. And there you go. Now we have our categories and our points in order, and we're ready to move on to start adding our questions and our answers. All right, now that we have our cards, the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and copy these and we're gonna paste them. And you're gonna paste them and try to line them up right above the prior ones. Okay, here we have our new set of cards, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna group these ones, and these are gonna be your questions. Now, the order here will matter. You want your points to be above your questions, okay? So you want the questions below the points. The categories really don't matter because there's nothing above or below the categories. But you do want the questions below the points. So now what we're gonna do with the questions is same thing, as tedious as it is, and remember I said this is actually really easy to build, but very time consuming, but this is why. We're gonna go ahead and rename these to be Q3, Q4 to match our questions. Okay, so now I have the questions, and because these are an exact duplicate, each question is going to be filtered. So each card is going to have the correct question number filtered. So 4 to 4, 3 to 3, 2 to 2, 1 to 1. Okay, and all you're going to do now is instead of points, you're going to bring in the questions. So let's grab question here. And at first you're not going to see what's going on, but this is why you want the points on top, because if I hide the points now, you notice that now the questions appear. So as I start to drop the questions inside of my cards, right, you'll notice that the questions start to appear. This is because I've hidden my points group, right? The points cards, if I hide them, well then now I can see the stuff that's underneath, which is the questions. So let's keep dropping in questions into our cards. Okay. And unlike the points, you'll notice that the questions probably need a little bit of text adjusting. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our callout value, and we're just going to start to sort of mess around with a number until we feel comfortable. So I dropped to 16, but let me go ahead and increase it until I feel comfortable that everything is captured. I'm not missing anything. Oh, okay. So 26. We'll leave it at 26. And you're going to go ahead and do that for each question. And question 9. And there you go. You finished building the questions. Now what I can do is I can now unhide the points, and the points come back, right? Hide it, and the questions are underneath. So good job. We're now going to add the answers. Okay, the answers are going to be pretty much identical to what we did with the questions group. All you're going to do is you're going to copy and you're going to paste, right? So now I have a new group over here. Oh, I gotta select the whole group. And what you're gonna do is same thing, you're gonna try to line it up right where the other ones are and rename this to answers. And same thing, the order matters, so you're gonna wanna move your answers below your questions. Okay? As tedious as it is, go ahead and rename this to A, A2, A3, because it's just gonna help keep things clean and simple. So I'm just gonna rename all of my answer cards and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to bring in our answer. So instead of question, you're gonna bring in the answer. And same thing, if you wanna see them, go ahead and hide points and go ahead and hide questions. And now you start to see the answer underneath. So bring in answer and you see it shows up. So for each of these, I'm gonna bring in the answer. And you'll notice that the answer, for the most part, fits inside of the card because our answers are a lot smaller than the questions, right? So totally up to you if you want to adjust the text size so that maybe the answer fits most of the card, go ahead. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. Maybe I'm just going to set these all to like 32 or something. It looks like I forgot one of them, so you'll notice this one still has a question. So I'll get to that one. 32, okay, so A7. Yep, I left the question there, so I'm gonna go ahead and drag the answer. Okay, and I'm gonna change the text size. So I'm somewhere between 30 and 32, depending on how small the answer is. Okay, perfect. So there you have it. Points. Underneath the points, we have questions. Underneath the questions, we have the answers. All right, so now we're ready to start to piece everything together where we begin to hide and unhide questions and answers to show what's underneath. So let's move on to that step. All right, with everything in your selection being unhidden, so make sure nothing is hidden, we're ready to begin to add our bookmarks. So up in the view, let's get our bookmark view. First thing we're gonna do with everything unhidden is we're gonna create sort of a general reset bookmark. So anytime that we click on this bookmark, we're gonna make sure that we get back to this screen to seeing all of our points. So what you're gonna wanna do is click on the ellipse here, unselect data, and just go ahead and hit update. Okay. So this is going to be our reset bookmark. Now we're going to create a bookmark for each question and later for each answer. So I'm going to name this bookmark Q1 so that I know when I hit this bookmark, I'm going to reveal question 1. So in order to do that, go ahead and uncollapse points and uncollapse questions. And what you're going to do is you're going to press and hide points. Okay, and you're going to select P1 and hit it in control. You're also going to select Q1. So make sure these two are selected, the question 1 and the P1, and that the points 1 is hidden. With that, what you're going to do is you're going to hit data. You're going to hit selected visuals. So only the selected visuals, not all visuals. And go ahead and hit update. And now you can go ahead and click on something else in the page. So if we hit our reset bookmark, right, we go back to our points, and if we hit question 1, we go to question 1, a garbage cleaning robot who falls in love. All right, good enough? Okay, so now we're gonna start to add the other ones, and I'm gonna add these fairly quick because once I've done one, I know how to do the other ones. So Q2, for Q2, what we're gonna do is we're gonna hide P2, we're gonna select P2, and we're gonna select Q2. Make sure those are selected. Go over, hit data, hit selected visuals only. and hit update. And then I'm going to move on. Add question 3. And we're going to test this to make sure everything is working. We're going to hide P3. Click P3, control click Q3. So make sure those are hidden. And same thing. Oh, I accidentally clicked it as a bookmark. Okay, there we go. Make sure those 2 are selected. Hit the ellipse, hit data, hit selected visuals, and hit update just in case. And let's test it out. So here's my reset. If I hit Q2, bam, it shows Q2. If I hit Q1, it shows Q1. If I hit Q3, it shows Q3. Okay? And none of these affect, so if I hit Q3, it doesn't affect any of the other questions, just question 3. Q1, Q2. Perfect. All right, I'm going to add all of them now. Okay, and we're on the last 2. And because there's a lot of clicking, in a little bit we're going to make sure that all of these are working fine. If not, we're going to have to make some edits. But I think for the most part I got these. Maybe I might have missed one here or there. Let's see. And finally question 9. Okay, let's see if I got them all. So go ahead and hit reset. We go back to our numbers. Let's try question 6. Okay, question 3, question 7, 8, 5, 4, we already clicked on 3, 9, 1, and 2. All right, so they all seem to be working. Okay, cool. Now what we're gonna do, you can go ahead and group these if you want. I'm not gonna group them. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do the same thing, except this time, we're gonna do it for the answers. So you don't really need points anymore. You can go ahead and collapse that, but we do need answers. And we're essentially gonna do the same thing. So down here, I'm gonna add a new bookmark. This is gonna be answer 1. And for answer 1, what you're gonna wanna do is very similar to points. You're gonna wanna hide question 1 so that answer 1 is showing. Click question 1, click answer 1, make sure you unselect data, click selected visuals only, and update. And that's it. We're gonna go ahead and do this for the rest of these. Answer 2, which means hide question 2, select question 2, select answer 2, unselect data, selected visuals, update. Okay, so what does that do? Well, let's bring back question 1 and 2. All that does is that when I click an answer bookmark, so if I click A2, I should be able to see where Peter Pan lives, Neverland. If I click answer 1, Wally. Okay, so all we're doing is we're hiding the questions now. So let's just go ahead and wrap the rest of these up. Okay, and the last one, unselect question 9, answer 9. Unselected. There we go. Data, selected visuals, and update. Great. Okay, all our questions are there. So let us reset the entire thing. Okay, let's select a few of our questions. And if you select the answer will actually show. Oh, it does not, because it doesn't hide the points. That's true. That's true. Oh, that's interesting to know. I didn't know that. Okay, cool. So let's go through the questions, get all of our questions on the board. Which one am I missing? 8. There we go. All our questions are on the board. Let's start to go through our answers. Answer 6, answer 3, 2, 4, 1. I'm just trying these in different orders to make sure that everything works independent of all the other bookmarks. Perfect. It looks like all of this works. So we've completed building the bookmarks for our questions and for our answers. I'm going to go ahead and hit the reset button. And we're ready to actually add some buttons to get to these bookmarks. And really, that's the final step. So let's move on to the final step. All right, so we're ready to finalize everything. I'm gonna go ahead and collapse my bookmark page. And what you're gonna wanna do now is you're going to want to insert a blank button. Okay, so here's a blank button. What I'm gonna do is a few things. I gotta make sure that, one, remove any sort of borders or background. You want this to be an invisible button, so you don't want any of that available. Let's see, style. Okay, remove the icon, remove the border. We don't want anything to show. I think everything else is good. Everything else is hidden. Now on the action, what you're gonna wanna do for this one is we're gonna start to assign these to the bookmark. So the very first one, right, set the action to bookmark, and you're gonna set this one to question 1. So when we click this, we're gonna be able to see question 1. Also remove the tooltip. You don't want the tooltip either. Okay, so question 1 for this. And what I did is I made this about half the size of the card. So when I click on the left side of a card, I'm clicking the question 1 bookmark. When I click on the right side of the card, I'm gonna set that to select the answer. So let me show you here, right? There's 2 bookmarks. If I click the right one, it shows the question. Sorry, if I click the left one, it shows the question. If I click the right one, it shows the answer. Answer, question. Okay, and then reset. So that's what we're gonna do. So on this one, on the left side, question 1. Okay, once you have that, it's up to you if you wanna name these. I'm gonna name this question 1, I don't know, or maybe, I don't know what to name these. Q1 button, yeah, that's fine, Q1. So go ahead and copy and hit paste. Did I paste it? Copy, paste, there we go. And I'm gonna set this one on the right side. So now I have this one here, and I'm gonna name this one answer 1. Okay, so now I have answer 1 and question 1, and answer 1, right, Q1 button belongs to Q1. Answer 1 button is gonna belong to answer 1 bookmark. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select both of them, copy, and I'm gonna paste. I'm gonna drag it right above my other card. I'm gonna paste again. I'm just gonna do these all at once. If you have a way of doing this faster, please let me know. This isn't very time consuming for me, but it would be nice to see if other people have a way of automating this so it's quicker. Okay, but we're ready here. So this answer is answer 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and rename it so that I don't get confused. Question 2, answer 3. And I highly suggest that you rename it, especially when we start to assign the actions. You wanna make sure that you're assigning these correctly. And finally, answer 9, question 9. Okay, now let's start to assign bookmarks. So A2, A2, Q2, Q2, A3, A3, Q3, Q3, A4. This is where I think naming them really helps, because you know once you're on Q4, I need to select the Q4 bookmark. Once I'm on A5, I need to select the A5 bookmark. A6, A6, Q6, Q6, A7, A7, question 7, answer 8, answer 8, question 8. And just to make sure I did this right, same thing, because you're doing a lot of clicking. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm just gonna click on them real quick. Okay, Q9, Q9, A9, A9, Q8, A8, Q7, A7, Q6, A6. Just verifying that these are mapped correctly. Q4, A4, Q3, A3, Q2, A2. And I'm just gonna reorder these. Q1, sorry, A2, A2, Q1, Q1, A1, A1. Okay, these all look to be mapped correctly. So we're done. I mean, we're done creating the bookmarks. We're done creating the buttons. The last button that I will add though is, so go ahead and copy one of these, paste it. I'm gonna add it somewhere over here, like in a blank spot. So this button, I'm going to name my reset button. So I know that if I click in this blank spot over here, I'm gonna reset my entire board. Okay. And now we can start to test it out, right? If I go to quotes for 200 and I click it, giving up is for rookies. The answer, Phil from Hercules, right? So I know that that is mapped correctly. Same thing here. If I click on places for 100, where does Peter Pan live? Which is my Q2 bookmark. And then I click on this button. He lives in Neverland, which is my answer to, and so on and so forth. So I would go ahead and test it out. Make sure that each of these return what you want. If you accidentally click on the right one, make sure that you're actually not seeing the answer. And you can always click on the left one. Then it doesn't really matter which way you go. The Cheshire Cat, Ralph, a garbage cleaning robot, Wally, Basil of Baker Street, To Infinity and Beyond, Buzz Lightyear. Okay, so all of these things are working. Same thing, if I'm ready to go and play this with another group of people, remember I have my giant reset button, control click it, reset my entire board, and I can start again. So that's pretty much it. That's how you build the Jeopardy board. The next step is now for me to be able to publish this onto the server so that when I go onto the server, I have it available to be able to play Jeopardy with my coworkers, right? And that's what I've done. I've published it out here. Let's get ready to play Jeopardy. Places for 200. In High School Musical, where do the Wildcats go for their summer job? Lava Springs. Remember, you want to delete the tooltip here because you don't want that to show up. So it looks like I left that on, but remove it so that when you highlight over something, it doesn't do that. Or just keep your mouse clicked away until you're ready to select a question. And then when you're ready to reset, just reset everything, and there you go. So that was my tutorial for the Jeopardy board. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you get stuck in any place, because it's really easy to get lost with all of the different cards and the different naming things that we were doing in groups. If you get lost, let me know in the comments, and I'll be glad to see if I can jump in and walk you through the selections or walk you through the bookmarks. But if there's no questions, then hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you try this out. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have a Jeopardy board. It'd be cool to see what some of you have come up with. And I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you.